And central to Augustine's notion of just war is that going to war, engaging in military conflict, has to be an act of last resort after all other alternatives have failed. And in fact, war should not be based on vengeance. War should not be based on ego. According to Augustine, war has to be based on this notion that it's intended to bring peace and restore a just order. And war should never be entered into lightly. It should be something that you think long and hard about. It should be something where there's gnashing of teeth, where you have to be dragged, kicking, and screaming into war. That's the basis of just war theory. It's not something you go into lightly. It's something you go into with your eyes wide open. And it's something you go into because you're trying to restore order within a society that has been knocked out of equilibrium because of the actions of someone else, because one nation state has acted in such a way by attacking another nation state, by acting violently toward its own people. These are some of the basic elements of when war could be considered just within Christian teaching. And I should add, not all Christians believe in this notion of just war. I mean, there's some folks that, like the great Stanley Hauerwas, who would argue that there are no conditions that a nation state should ever go to war because we bastardized the notion of just war theory. We have made just war theory, in his estimation, a checklist of things that if we can check off all these things, then it's appropriate for us to go to war. But just war theory is so much more. And I agree with Stanley Hauerwas that just war theory is so much more than a series of check boxes. For the Christian, war, the notion of the just war, if there is such a thing, should inspire us to engage in deep theological reflection about the reasons for going to war. It should not just be because we're trying to be good patriotic citizens or we like the president. We should think deeply about whether the war is just. We should think deeply about whether we are doing the right thing biblically and theologically. We should think deeply about what war does to our Christian witness. And this is what Aquinas eventually gets to in his great theological work, Summa Theologica, when he starts first articulating in a very systematic and legalistic way with the undercurrent of strong theological reflection what the elements of just war are and what's required for us to engage in just war.